essentially any class that I teach becomes an IT career development seminar in some respects. Once we're done reviewing, technical things that we're learning, I'm usually going into a little bit of career development topics with them. And I think tonight's class, which is the Linux programming, I had a girl who was leaving the class, and she recognized that some of the other students are kind of wearing out in terms of focus. And I had to tell her, I said, in IT career development is a lifelong skill, and some courses are going to definitely be more attractive to people than others. And for example, if someone says create a very simple program or make this website, and there are people going to be attracted immediately to learning the skill to produce the product. And then there's going to be skills like Linux administration, Linux programming, learning operating systems, things that people don't necessarily understand the value of until they're on the job or they're working in the field. And then the knowledge that they kind of acquired in a course comes to them. So I think that is an important thing to consider when taking IT courses, or if you're part of a degree program. Your motivation is going to wane depending on the topic ultimately. So it's okay to feel unmotivated at times. Maybe a topic is not something that particularly jazzes you up or gets you excited, but it's important to know and try to make connections. With this particular class, I told the student at the end, she noticed that the students weren't as focused, but I also said they aren't necessarily seeing the next level connection to what they're learning around operating systems or whatever the technical concept is we're covering, but it's something they're going to come into in the real world. So I think there's definitely value when you're learning, when you try to make it possible for students to see the value in what you're teaching them towards real world application as much as possible. And sometimes it can be extremely difficult. You have to sometimes create scenarios for them or create ways to make them think about the topic. And I think that's a huge step. That's a big step, is making them think, period, and making them think actively about the topic they're learning and how they're going to apply the skills. So in this particular topic, it's Linux system administration and managing how they would manage a Linux server and what is possible and what are the considerations for that type of work. So a topic that we dove into tonight just by happenstance was, I was speaking with a student particularly about career development as a process and how it's really a never-ending process in terms of acquiring skills to then work in a field, and how important it is to then continue to develop your skills. It's absolutely essential, right, to kind of keep doing that throughout your career, particularly in IT and tech, and how you have to see that as an essential skill set. And as part of that conversation, I felt it important to tell the students that you might be getting an associate's degree, and then you need to then get a bachelor's degree, because you're always should be trying to achieve the next thing, always trying to achieve the next step, learning, in depth of learning, and become a lifelong learner. Now, if you don't get that next level degree, it's okay, but you need to realize that there's still continual learning to be done. And basically what you need to always be doing is strategizing and thinking about how the next step you take towards your learning and career, whether it be an additional degree, certification, skill set, is essential, but it's going to be what separates you from other people. I did feel it was important to let them know. I spoke around about the entry-level field, and I had done research a couple of years ago upon needing to hire someone as an entry-level technician, and I did some research. Now, this is in Massachusetts, that the entry-level IT technician role, this was in education as well, so it was around $55,000 starting across multiple places I researched. And went up from about $53,000 and up. Now, this is not in a corporate environment. This is not in a business for business sake environment. This is generally within education fields. And I noted that to the students. And I also said to them, as an entry-level dollar amount, to some of them that sounded pretty good. But I also wanted them to realize that with that entry level, you're at the point where in some cases you are of value to an organization because you're performing a role that as you escalate and you have more increased costs with your role, the value needs to increase as well. And as you acquire certifications and experience, your actual value in some ways, as you join a larger pool of talent, of people who maybe have acquired additional degrees or experience, sometimes can get smaller. Opportunities become more narrow. So it's very important to find a niche, develop some very particular skill sets so that within your organization you still continue to retain value, but you also are developing valuable skills, so taking into your next opportunity, because you're only at that entry level stage for only so many years. And if you're a progressive learner and progressive at thinking about your next level opportunity, you're going to be advancing past that and want more. I will also say that accelerating your learning and is definitely going to support you in getting new opportunities, particularly in IT and technology fields. And the job market generally supports it, but you really need to target and start to systemize how you're thinking about your skill set. And after IT, entry-level work, there's systems administration work, which is the next step up, is being in charge of systems in your organization. And then there's additional management, whether it's network management or management of applications or devices, or in some level of moving up the chain in terms of responsibility, clearance, permissions, and new levels of support within your team. And with that comes new skill sets, new opportunities, but you also have to remember, is this where you're going to stay? Do you want to expand past the role you're in? Is it where you want to be? You need to start asking yourself those questions. And I mentioned to the students that it's my belief that those who have planned and worked and stayed steady throughout their career are the happiest when they've pre-planned the shifts that they've needed to make according to the skills that they would need. And I think that's an important thing to consider, is you need to pre-plan for what adjustments are coming down the line as much as you can. I know that's a very difficult thing to say and do, but it's actually important that you start to think about, over time, what types of topics you need to develop a knowledge in. Enhanced cybersecurity topics, enhanced artificial intelligence topics, enhanced topics related to how IT support and system administration are going to change due to these challenges. And just to keep that in mind, because that's going to give you a vision for and a motivation for continuing learning, whether it's within a degree program or not. I also spoke with students around the fact that as younger individuals generally, that their value towards energy into their work is huge, and that organizations can definitely take advantage of those who are super eager to please, super eager to grow, super eager to put extra hours in, envisioning that this is going to support growth in their career. And they're coming at a lower cost than maybe some other additional people in their organization. And just to keep that in mind, I'm not saying, don't work hard or don't, go the extra mile to make sure a process is done right. I'm just saying the math is that you're working harder at a younger layer of your career, and you're putting in those hours because you're at that heaviest stage of learning and looking to advance. And in some respects, you have a lower personal cost towards the time you spend away from your home or away from your family. You have time to give to the organization because you're looking to grow, and you're also looking to advance based on your motivation at your age group and your desire to move up an organization and get experience. So one of the students in my class, bright guy, he was the one who initiated this dialogue. He was the one who had initiated this dialogue with me, and we're kind of discussing it. And I think he's 34, and he has some experience. He's doing some additional certifications and work and learning, and he's trying to figure out his next steps. And the topic came up of cronyism in terms of advancement and people supporting each other, and that networking component that is a little bit of cronyism, like someone who knows somebody who can help somebody. And I think I've seen that work for people in some respects, particularly if they are of a similar skill set and work group of people. I think there is definitely room where, it's a form of networking, right? It's people who know people and have certain skill sets and they can vouch for people's abilities. But what I advise students is, instead of maybe focusing always maybe on that component, is to focus potentially more on mentors and people who they can look to support their career growth from a professional standpoint, in terms of someone to go to, speak to about topics related to their career, potentially set goals or share goals with, and someone who can support and guide you and give you recommendations, and also help you answer questions about your next steps when you have them about your own work. Because we're not always going to be super confident in our next steps, and sometimes we need that nudge. We need that push to figure out the next part of ourselves and where we take the risk and leverage that risk of learning about ourselves, learning about how our careers and goals impact our next choices with what we want to do, and how ready we feel we are. And it's important to find people that can be a mentor, who can really be a listener and support those types of discussions, maybe sometimes more than what a peer is going to. Can be great for networking and sharing a contact or information or vouch for you and your abilities at a table. But sometimes the work is a bit deeper than that. So based on that conversation, it broke into a little bit of discussion around perseverance with learning, and topically around in IT careers, specifically perseverance with learning technical skills, that soft skill of perseverance. And what I encourage the students to at that point is to understand that if they're not failing at something, then they're probably not learning, and they have to understand that failure is a very important part of learning, and understanding why something didn't work, and learning how to leverage making changes in their lives. Basically growing to a stage in which they can learn how to make shifts, because if you don't know how to make changes, you forget sometimes, and you lose the comfort level with making the necessary changes you need to make. And you also forget how to leverage the risks associated with change, and how those risks impact learning and not learning as well. Because if you're not taking enough risk, you're probably becoming a little stagnant. And if you're taking too much risk, you're probably putting yourself at a liability. But at the end of the day, what is happening to your learning in the current environment you're in? Is it growing? Are you growing? What does that look like? And at different stages of your career, you're going to see that differently based on how thoughts of stability or other topics and considerations related to that. I really think that the idea of taking on a challenge, understanding why you're not successful, is important. And you also have to realize that keeping yourself safe is not helping you grow. And you need to leverage and find ways to grow if you're keeping yourself safe in other ways. You need to find ways to grow in the way that you need to grow, not just growth for growth's sake, and in a way that maybe isn't what you really want to be doing. But ultimately, failure creates a new dynamic. And one thing I did speak to the students and say was, you need to basically fail at something that you work hard at to know what it's like so you can go back to it and work at it again. And do it until you realize why you failed, what steps you're going to take to not fail again or do better. And that's going to measure whether or not you really want it. But if you're taking side steps to what you really want, that's going to show in the results. That's going to show in your outcomes. So you got to be passionate and committed to what you want in order for it to be successful. And understand that is going to be a big part that determines your success. The failures are going to determine your success, and that's the bottom line. So if you're not failing or you're staying in a rut or in the same place, the amount of success you're going to gain is also staying in the same place, because no one just builds upon success without some layer of challenge, that they're challenging themselves and pushing themselves. And that's why people get comfortable. People get comfortable because they get too comfortable, because their understanding of what they feel is successful about themselves is held into this idea of holding on to it and it's an object, as opposed to seeing it as this ever-evolving topic. And people lose track. And as a leader, it's really important too that to see the growth as yourself, because if you're not growing, you're not helping people around you grow. And if you're holding on too tight, you're teaching them to hold on too tight. And that can create some toxic environments, right? So just food for thought there. Good morning. Today I want to go over a document that I created to help my students improve their LinkedIn profiles in 1 hour. So this document was designed initially to assist students or professionals at any level. I think it's applicable to improve your LinkedIn profile in 1 hour. And the reason why the focus is in 1 hour is that people are busy, or I think sometimes they need to measure the amount of time they spend committed to something before they see if it works. So the idea around the suggestions I'm going to make here are that these suggestions have the most impact for the amount of time spent. And I would say one thing to remember is that with a 1 hour makeover of your profile, you do want to be careful around what you update, how you update it, what type of information you do put, just because a lot of this stuff takes time no matter what, and consistency, and also just using the social media and understanding how to use it efficiently. So with all that taken into consideration, let's get started. The top priority for your LinkedIn profile, if you're going to be starting an update in 1 hour, is crafting a headline that attracts, whether it's recruiters in some instance, or just interest in your profile for the area and topic that you want your next opportunity in. So you want to take about 20 minutes and really think about crafting a headline, be professional, looking for the ideal opportunity, or something specific around maybe a completed piece of training that now leads to an opportunity. Take some time, take 20 minutes, really think about crafting a headline that is going to attract people to your profile. Now within the headline, it's also ideal that you have the title or role of the position that you want. This is important because not only can people associate this title and position with you, but also it becomes searchable. So you want to think about the headline being almost like a video title on YouTube or the title of a document. It's going to be the most rich in terms of keywords and how people are going to find you on LinkedIn. So with doing this, some recommendations are draft maybe 3 or 4 examples. You can utilize AI to help manipulate those examples and develop them further and try to get them more refined. But definitely want to draft out 3 or 4 examples. One could be if you're seeking a new position, one could be playing upon your current existing position's highlights or skill set. But make sure that you have a position that you either are aspiring to, a title of a position that you have that can help attract people to you, but ultimately you're selling yourself within the headline. And I would also recommend looking at others' headlines in your field for examples and ideas, as that can greatly help you get some ideas, get up and going, and get started for yourself. But take 20 minutes to do that. So the next 20 minutes that I would ask you to focus your energy into. So the topics that I would ask you to focus your next 20 minutes on when updating your LinkedIn profile, you're going to want to focus in 20 minutes on your profile photo, your banner. You're going to want to take 20 minutes to focus solely on your profile photo and your banner together. Now, of course, your profile photo should be, if possible, a professional level photo. If it's not a professional headshot, or you don't have access to the resources for a professional headshot, try to get a nice photo with some nice daylighting, balanced, not too dark, not overexposed. You can utilize a tool like removebg.com, remove BG, to remove the background and place a color in the background to make it look more professional. There's a lot of new tools out there that will remove the background and help you have a more professional looking profile photo by neutralizing background distractions. You can also do that in Canva, but at the end of the day, you want it to be professional. Not like your traditional maybe social media profile, in which part of a personal profile. You want it where people can see you, think about you as a professional. How are you going to present yourself as a professional? The next piece is the banner. Now, I feel like the banner is one of the more complicated pieces of an upgrade to a LinkedIn profile, in that I think it's very easy to go too far with banner design as opposed to just keeping it simple. I think some people do a really good job of keeping it simple and effective, and some people go a little too far and it can become distracting. I think with a banner, you do want something that hints at your field, like technology, or if it's another area, maybe it's human resources. But I would err on the side of simplicity. One recommendation here is, first, look at other people's banners and look at the number of elements on the banner. Do they have their names? Do they have text or a name of a business or their own business on the banner? How is it formatted? What are the colors that are being used? I would first do a little bit of research in that area. Look at the banners. Pick 2 or 3 of your favorites. Understand why you like them. Is it because of a professional? Is it because they're professional? Is it because they're nice looking, you like the colors? Then write those notes down and then go into Canva.com and look under the templates for LinkedIn banners. Now look at LinkedIn banner templates and see if you can find a template which matches some of the same features that you found that you liked in those examples. Then identify those templates and see if you can begin crafting with those templates. You want to see if you can then recreate a similar banner, something that's for you and your personal needs. Now, always err on the side of simplicity. Don't add too many layers. Don't add too many distractions, as sometimes the banner can become a distraction from the content on your page. At the end of the day, including maybe a personal branding website, your name, potentially a slogan related to personal branding for yourself. You can keep it simple with nice colors. Ideally, it will complement anything in your profile photo. So if you used a light purple background in your profile photo, does that work with your banner? Don't pick clashing colors. Don't pick things that are going to clash together. And stylistically, they look the same. You want to bring them together. I would say less is definitely more with the banner. That's a piece that you can develop over time. But in 20 minutes, you can do something very quick, simple, and effective. And that's why it's one of the most effective things you can update quickly. The third area that you're going to want to spend 20 minutes in is the About section. So for all of the sections up to now, you could have spent 0 to 10 minutes, 0 to 20 minutes. I think potentially you may have had a section done may have taken you less time. I think the About section is a very good place that if you're going to spend a quality amount of time, maybe the total 20 minutes, focus on an area, this is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck in terms of time, in terms of people understanding who you are, and impact on understanding who you are, and ultimately impact on your profile. This is where you're going to write about your experience, about your message. It's basically a chance to have an about page around you. You need to remember that the About section is all about how you're explaining to anyone who visits your profile what your current experiences are, what potential you might be looking for, your status as a learner, your status as a job seeker, your past experiences which really lend to your future experiences. That's what you want to put in this area. And you want to craft this in a way that is professional. It's almost as if the About section on a personal website. And you may have a personal website. So this is a place where you can begin to utilize some of that text if you have a personal website. Most people don't always have a personal website, so you want to think about the LinkedIn profile as your personal website. You also want to remember that your LinkedIn profile can be a downloadable PDF resume. And some people might actually download your profile and use it as a resume. And you can if you want to. So this About section becomes the top section of your resume. So you want to think about the impact that has. And I also want to think about duplicating efforts. If you have a website, you have your LinkedIn profile, and then you have your resume, a lot of the writing that can be about you in a 1 to 2 paragraph description about where you are in your career and what you're really focused on achieving next, an objective or multiple objectives that are explain your experience and why those next steps are what you're looking for or what you're all about, is important, is that you can use it across different platforms. So you can use it on a website, you can use it on a digital portfolio, you can use it on your LinkedIn profile. So really, or sections of it on other social media. So this is another place where it's keyword friendly. I would recommend, if you haven't done a lot of work on your About section, you're just trying to get it started, that you focus on just getting a rough 1 paragraph done and then go from there. This is another one where you can look at other people's examples at the same stage of their careers as you are and think about what do they have that you like. You could even take another person's profile description, put it into an AI tool like ChatGPT and say, please rewrite this for me based on these 3 or 4 bullet points that are about me. So you could say, you could take the profile, pop it in there and say, please rewrite this About section for me with your name, and say, but take into account the fact I completed a CompTIA certification, or I got an additional bachelor's degree, or I got a project management certification to add to the profile. Once you have that, you can then edit and refine that to your needs. That's just a suggestion to get started. But once again, looking at others prior is really super important. What you like, what you don't like, what you think is effective is probably sometimes what other people find effective. So everything from here on out is considered what a mid-priority. It's not that it's not a super priority and important, but it's just in terms of time, these may be things that are additional time for you to spend refining and improving the profile. So these are the other nitty-gritty details that are essentially just as important, those other parts that I talked about, but you need to realize if you're looking at it in terms of spending an hour and then spending an hour maybe on something else, that first hour should go into those other items that I just spoke about. Now we're moving into mid-priority. These are things that generally you sometimes might have trouble remembering when you're just sitting down and working on a profile for the first time. So if you're in that stage, this is more of a checklist. You might want to sit down and go through some of these prior to even getting on LinkedIn, or do your own research related to it, just so that you have a little bit of a framework. So let's start going through these things. And remember, these are designed to boost your credibility, and boost your appearance based on topics that you're choosing. So the first would be projects and experiences. Basically, these are what you've been working on, types of projects you've been working on, the content area you've been working within, also experiences at current positions, filling out jobs that you've worked at or other positions that you've been doing work at, freelance work, project work. All of that starts to add up. So you're going to want to put that into a sequential order for yourself, just like you would a resume. Outline it. Maybe you could do a job section on a piece of paper or I would actually suggest just doing it on the computer. Have maybe a job section just like you would on a resume, a project section just like you would on a resume, and start to describe these things so that you can effectively have an outline. Now, another part that people kind of miss while doing this is that many of these jobs and projects involve tools, software, additional skills. As you start to outline these projects and jobs, you also want to outline the skills, the outcomes, the measurements, all align with these projects, jobs, and opportunities you had. These skills and opportunities, not only can they be embedded within the descriptions of these jobs so they can help promote that experience, but you can also list them additionally in the technical skills area of your LinkedIn profile. So you want to start making this projects list, jobs list, put it into sequence, put the dates down, and then also the skills and tools and outcomes associated with them. After you've taken that step, let's say that's an hour and a half. We're now in the second hour if we were to keep going past the first hour. Third step to having the dynamite profile, which has all the moving parts together. And you definitely notice these profiles because they're the ones who are going to appear higher in the search engines, get more views by recruiters or other people looking to find people to help work for them, and also connections are going to connect with you more often if they find similar items in their profile as yours, is certifications. So any type of certification in your field, whether it's IT or another topical area related to your subject. In IT, this could be CompTIA, this could be Cisco, this could be any certification. So you just want to make sure that if you have a certification, you've been working on one, you have it. So if I were to make a quick to-do list to complete this video, here's what you need to be focused on. First, add 10 to 15 relevant skills to your profile that align with not only your past experience, but also the experiences that you're working on in projects and also what you're aspiring to work within. This could be troubleshooting, this could be an IT Active Directory, or a skill related to a certification or a knowledge area. Take a look at the featured section. Are there updates that you could make? Is there something you could share? Here you can pin updates to your resume, certifications, experiences you had going to a boot camp, or another learning experience that helps shape you as a person. Courses and projects. Are you currently taking courses? Are you in a degree program or taking individual skill courses? Are you taking a course on LinkedIn? Are you taking a Udemy course? Are you choosing courses to help expand your knowledge? You want to include that here. So today I want to talk about what are the best online platforms for learning, and we've come a long way with online platforms, specifically for career development, for all sorts of upskilling, that they've just become very niche and very particular for different types of learners. So what I want to do is do a little bit of a deep dive into a couple of them, talk about them, and then think about why they're good. So the first platform is Coursera. This is like a university-style platform. What that means is essentially delivered in a similar way like an online platform course at the university level might be delivered in terms of the modular structure and the types of content available on their platform. Coursera also partners with universities, which gives that additional feeling of a higher level educational institution supported course. So many of their course options are in-depth, partnered with universities and professors at different universities, and of course they provide professional level certifications. Now the second option is Udemy. Udemy is much more of a micro course upskilling platform. It's more casual, has more very specific topics and target areas for learning specific skill sets. And one of the best parts about Udemy is that they run specials all the time where they drop the prices of courses so that you can actually get very affordable, specific courses at a great price. And this can be great if you're on a budget, or your budget for online learning and courses is just not huge. And there's a lot of different options. So they're not all structured as longer format courses as some of the Coursera courses are, so that you can get some more specific skills in a shorter period of time. And with any sort of special deal that they may have running, you can get it at a very affordable price. The next option is LinkedIn Learning. Now, LinkedIn Learning has definitely transformed over the last several years with much more robust learning options embedded within their platform. And there's an amazing number of skills. And these skills can be directly applied to your LinkedIn profile, whether they're creative skills, business skills, IT skills. You can search for LinkedIn learning opportunities related to the skills that you need for a specific occupation. And once you complete a LinkedIn learning course, you can immediately add that badge, that certification to your profile so that potential employers can actually see that you have acquired these skills. And I would say actually several years ago, I was looking at some of the courses and I was very impressed with the depth and the robustness of their courses, even in their programming courses, and the variety of skills that they offer through LinkedIn is pretty great. The final major option I'm going to provide is edX. Now, edX is another one who has deeper university-backed courses. They often have a strong focus in its topic area. But I would say one of the big differences with edX is they're really going after that high-quality online course. So you can do a Udemy training, you can do a LinkedIn skill-based training, you could do a Coursera style course, but the most robust and collegiate feel or full certification feel is through edX. And all of these providers definitely understand the niche that they're serving. So this is an opportunity with edX that they're really trying to provide that more robust, streamlined, full collegiate course environment and the depth of learning that goes along with it. So with that, you also get much more serious-minded individual. So with that, this is definitely targeted for more serious-minded individuals who are looking for that collegiate level style course and the topics that go along with that type of learning. And ultimately, that's reflected in the credentials provided by edX and how people feel the level of quality is with those. So those are some options, whether you're looking for skill building, a full collegiate course experience, looking to upskill in a specific technical area, looking to connect your upskilling and online course to your personal brand through LinkedIn. These are all options that provide a range of different experiences and depths of learning. So from the perspective as a learner and how maybe these types of courses have met my personal learning goals, I have a couple different experiences. So with Coursera, an example of a course with them is the Google IT Support Certificate. Now, that's a certificate level course, not as deep as the CompTIA, but still a full course offered through Coursera, and it has the depth of a mini course, often 8 to 10 modules with topics and assessments and elements to help you show what you've learned. So that's a course that I personally have checked out. With Udemy, I utilized Udemy to learn specific web development for making web apps. I use Udemy for technical skills associated with making web apps. And I'll be honest, it was a great micro course. And what made the course so good was that I learned something very specific within each module. So I was making web applications, and I was not only learning something within each module, but each module sequentially was part of a bigger project. So from the technical perspective, it wasn't as if I was learning just for the sake of what was included in that module. There was a bigger picture in mind in putting all the skills together. And I edX, I will say I've had edX tied to close to collegiate level learning experiences in terms of an online learning portal, maybe hosted an online learning portal that had deep topics, lots of resources, assessments, reflections, multiple components to the course, but it's deeper, broader topics. Definitely the anticipation that you're going to go deeper on a topic, you're going to do research into an area, or you're going to be exposed to a topic that you're going to have to reflect on or go deeper in. edX definitely provides that experience. And I've had that experience on multiple courses to the point where edX has endorsed a course that was pre-existing. And so it was kind of by default that the edX endorsement was part of the course that I took online. With LinkedIn Learning, several years ago I signed up for a programming course on LinkedIn Learning, and I was very impressed with the depth and the robustness and the assessment questions. We would generally do a pre-assessment to place you with an understanding of what you know about the topic that you're looking to take a course in. And I thought that was great because that's like trying to understand the learner. And I know since then I've just seen so many new types of learning opportunities on LinkedIn, not just in those high demand programming areas, but all sorts of soft skills, hard skills, communication skills that are great to have, and also great to have accessible to those who are looking to develop their online branding and portfolio on LinkedIn, and having those resources accessible to them can validate their experience. For myself, my choice of courses has always come down to what I was trying to learn. I think the flexibility to choose a topic based on your learning goals is really important. And I hope you use the information that I'm giving you in this video to help you narrow down some of these choices, because it does matter. And the platform matters because they're all focused on something specific in general in the way that they deliver the content. They're all hitting and fitting a niche in the online learning market, and people are after different types of validation for their learning. You might be taking a course for your workplace that is a deeper topic that might be on either Coursera or, with edX being a little bit of a deeper platform, you might be looking to just on a weekend explore a couple different skills in learning programming or another technical skill. And that's where you might want to look at LinkedIn or Udemy. So at the end of the day, your choice in these platforms is really targeted towards what you're trying to learn, your time frame for learning it, and also your budget. So those all kind of come into play. And the great part of the majority of these a great part of these platforms is a majority of them offer an opportunity to see the content, explore a course, see how it's delivered. And I think that's going to give you the best idea of whether or not you want to continue using the platform. Do you have the feeling? Are you learning within the resources that you've been provided? So if you wanted to do a quick assessment for yourself, if you can get free access to one of these courses, if you can get free access to one of these platforms for your course, I really suggest self-assess your learning within one of the modules. Were you getting information that you didn't know before? Were you provided resources that you thought were really supporting what you were trying to learn? And did you learn something that got you excited about the topic to the level where you felt like you wanted to experience the next module? I think that's the feeling you really want within an online course, because online course completion rates are really so low. There's so much taste testing per se with online courses that it's kind of just how it is. The learning is so accessible now through these resources that there's an expectation that you taste test a bit of the learning you want to do and find the best platform that fits your needs. But be sure that you can, if you're really interested in validating what you learned with an employer, be sure that you have that base covered as well. And if you care about the robustness of the platform or the perception of the robustness of the platform, take that into mind as well. And you're going to have to weigh the pros and the cons of the cost versus the benefit, and check and see if there's a certification you're trying to get, or there's additional learning or credits that you're trying to get. Can some of these courses support some of the learning to support you with that learning in your workplace or at school. Just something to think about is there transferable certifications, and is there transferable learning that since you took this course you can apply elsewhere? All important questions if you're doing a longer investment into the topic. But I appreciate you checking out the video. Hopefully you've begun exploring some of these tools, and definitely it matters what type of topic you're doing a deep dive into, what your timeline is, and how much you want to spend. So I appreciate you checking out the video, and hopefully you find the course of your dreams out there and you're successful. Please feel free to reach out if you need any assistance. Please like and subscribe for more content like this, and I appreciate your time.
Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to explore how educators can use Google's Notebook LM, a powerful AI tool designed to revolutionize how we interact with documents and information. We'll look at how Notebook LM can help teachers work with many of the text we use daily for lesson planning, and how it can help us synthesize information, remember key points, and create new learning resources for students. Often, the sheer volume of words in our teaching resources can be overwhelming, but Notebook LM can help us dive into these materials more effectively. Some of the key features I'd like to discuss about Notebook LM is its AI-powered information organization and summarization, its interactive chat in course materials, time-saving lesson planning. So here are some of the key features of Notebook LM that I'm going to cover. Its AI-powered information organization and summarization, its interactive chat in course materials, time-saving lesson planning, AI-powered note management, audio summaries, responsible use guidelines, getting started with the tool, the importance of user feedback, and next steps in getting access. What is Notebook LM? Notebook LM is a tool designed for organizing and summarizing information, acting as an AI research assistant and note-taking companion. It analyzes, summarizes, and provides insights based on the documents you upload. Think of it as a way to converse with your course materials, whether it's a textbook, lecture notes, or even YouTube videos. It uses advanced AI to help you navigate complex information, providing source overviews that include summaries, key topics, and suggested questions to help enhance your understanding of the materials. Notebook LM provides AI insights, document organization, and lesson planning capabilities. One of the most significant benefits of Notebook LM is that it saves teachers time on lesson planning. It can quickly generate study guides, FAQs, tables of content, timelines, and briefing documents from uploaded materials. Additionally, it offers audio summaries of source materials, allowing educators to review content on the go. Notebook LM also helps teachers stay organized with its AI-powered note management. By uploading multiple sources and generating summaries, key topics, and questions, teachers can better manage and organize their course materials. These tools can free up valuable time, allowing teachers to focus more on instruction and student engagement. When using Notebook LM, it is important to follow the district's policies on data privacy. Google has also stated that Notebook LM won't use your personal data to train its AI models, which is an important consideration for privacy. Always ensure you avoid uploading sensitive or student identifiable information to protect privacy, and always review the AI-generated content for accuracy before using it in your classroom. This ensures that the information you share with your students is correct and appropriate. Remember, while Notebook LM is a powerful tool, it should be used responsibly and ethically. To begin using Notebook LM, you'll need to start by requesting access, which may involve completing a Google form. Once you have access, the first step is to log into the Notebook LM. From there, you can start by uploading your documents and beginning to explore the tool's many features, including the chat interface, the various resource generation tools, and audio summary option. You can start by uploading your documents and beginning to explore the tool's many features, including the chat interface, the various resource generation tools, and the audio summary option. Experimenting with different features can help you understand how Notebook LM can best support your teaching practices. If you need assistance or additional training, there are help and training resources available. For Notebook LM, Although the specific locations are not identified in your sources, it's important to remember that as a new tool, your feedback is invaluable for improvement. So do provide your thoughts and suggestions to the developers. Together, we can ensure that NotebookLM continues to evolve to meet the needs of educators. To get started with this tool, complete the form to request access to NotebookLM, take the time to explore the tool responsibly, and begin using it to enhance your teaching practices. By integrating NotebookLM into your teaching workflow, you can unlock new ways to engage with your materials, deepen your understanding, and enhance learning outcomes for your students. Thank you for your dedication to being an innovative educator.
I think the flexibility to choose a topic based on your learning goals is really important. And I hope you use the information that I'm giving you in this video to help you narrow down some of these choices, because it does matter. And the platform matters because they're all focused on something specific in general in the way that they deliver the content. You might be taking a course for your workplace that is a deeper topic that might be on either Coursera or, with edX being a little bit of a deeper platform, you might be looking to just on a weekend explore a couple different skills in learning programming or another technical skill. And that's where you might want to look at LinkedIn or Udemy. So at the end of the day, your choice in these platforms is really targeted towards what you're trying to learn, your time frame for learning it, and also your budget. So those all kind of come. Udemy is much more of a micro course upskilling platform. It's more casual, has more very specific topics and target areas for learning specific skill sets. And one of the best parts about Udemy is that they run specials all the time where they drop the prices of courses so that you can actually get very affordable, specific courses at a great price. And this can be great if you're on a budget or your budget for online learning and courses is just not huge. And there's a lot of different options. So they're not all structured as longer format courses as some of the Coursera courses are, so that you can get some more specific skills in a shorter period of time. And with any sort of special deal that they may have running, you can get it at a very affordable price. The next option is LinkedIn Learning. Now, LinkedIn Learning has definitely transformed over the last several years with much more robust learning options embedded within their platform. And there's an amazing number of skills. And these skills can be directly applied to your LinkedIn profile, whether they're creative skills, business skills, IT skills,